As a long-haul trucker, you get used to the strange things you hear on the CB radio late at night. But when I started hearing a little girl's voice counting down from 100, other truckers told me to turn my radio off and drive as fast as you can, because when she gets to 1, she finds you. They called her the Countdown Girl. She was a ghost story, a piece of highway folklore truckers used to scare rookies on the lonely graveyard shift between Cheyenne and Salt Lake City. I'd been driving rigs for 20 years, and I'd heard it all. Tales of phantom black dogs, ghost lights, and highways that didn't exist on any map. I was a cynic. In my experience, the only real monsters on the road were sleep deprivation and bad dispatchers who route you through a blizzard. I first heard her on a dead quiet Tuesday night, somewhere deep in the Wyoming wilderness. My rig, the Wanderer, was the only sign of life for 100 miles in any direction. The radio, which had been hissing with static for an hour, suddenly went crystal clear, as if the transmitter was right next to me. The abrupt silence of the static was more jarring than the noise had been. And through that perfect quiet came the voice of a little girl, sweet and clear as a bell. 94, 93, 92. It was so out of place, so clean in the sea of static, that I thought it had to be a recording, a radio pirate with a sick sense of humor. "All right, very funny," I grumbled into my mic. "Who's the comedian?" The channel remained silent, except for the girl's steady, unhurried countdown. I switched channels, but she was there too. And on the next one. She was on every channel, a ghost in the machine. I shut the radio off, an uneasy knot tightening in my gut. The next night I was crossing into Utah. I switched on the radio out of habit. Static. Then her voice cut through again. 81, 80, 79. It started from a lower number. My heart skipped a beat. This wasn't a recording playing on a loop. This was different. This was progress. I hailed on a channel I knew was popular with other drivers. "Breaker 19, this is Big Rig Ben. You got a copy?" A gruff voice crackled back almost immediately. "Go for it, Big Rig." You hearing that countdown, that little girl?" The radio went silent for a long, heavy moment. The other driver's voice, when it returned, had lost all its gruffness. It was a panicked, reedy whisper. "Turn it off, man. For the love of God, turn it off and drive. Don't listen. Do you hear me? Don't you listen." The broadcast cut out, replaced by a blast of static. A cold dread, colder than any Wyoming winter, crept over me. This wasn't just a story. The other drivers knew. They were afraid. But I couldn't stop listening. It became a morbid, fatalistic obsession. Every night I'd turn on the radio, and every night she would be there, her count lower than the night before. I started keeping a logbook, the numbers a terrifying countdown to a destination I didn't know. Night 3, she started at 72. Night 4, 66. There was no pattern to the drop, but the direction was undeniable. She was getting closer. The world outside my cab began to warp. I'd see things in the corner of my eye, a fleeting shadow darting alongside my truck, a slick, dark shape keeping pace with me at 70 miles an hour. Faces, pale and screaming, would sometimes materialize for a second in the swirling static of my GPS screen. The electronics in my cab started to glitch in ways that felt personal. The radio would turn itself on, her voice filling the cab when I had sworn I'd turned it off. The digital clock on my dash would sometimes flash 1:11 over and over again, no matter the actual time. The coffee in my thermos would inexplicably turn ice cold. My own reflection in the window at night seemed wrong, my face gaunter, my eyes wider, as if her presence was physically wearing me down. I tried to talk to other truckers about it at a stop in Elko. I cornered an old-timer with a face like a road map and asked him about the countdown girl. He just stared at me, his coffee cup trembling in his hand. He took a long swallow, then looked past me, out the window at my rig. "She's picked you, son," he whispered, his voice raspy. "You're tuned to her frequency now. There ain't no changing the channel. She ain't just on the radio no more. Once she's got your number, she's in the wires of the truck, in your head. She's got a signal that finds you, a signal that sticks." He got up and walked away without another word. The other drivers gave me a wide berth, their eyes full of a mixture of pity and fear. I was marked. I was the one she was counting down for. I thought about quitting, about leaving the Wanderer at that very truck stop and taking a bus back home to a life that didn't have ghosts on the airwaves. But I couldn't. A strange compulsion, a need to know had taken root. This was my last great mystery of the road, and I had to see it through to the end. What happened when she got to one? Was it an ending or a beginning? The final night came a week later on a desolate two-lane stretch of Highway 50 in Nevada, a road so empty they call it the loneliest road in America. The sun had set and the world was a void of darkness beyond my headlights. I turned on the radio. Her voice was there instantly, no static. It sounded like she was sitting in the passenger seat next to me. 5, 4, 3, my hands were slick with sweat on the steering wheel. My breath was coming in ragged, shallow gasps. My gaze was fixed on the endless ribbon of asphalt unfolding in front of me, but my mind was screaming, replaying every warning I had ignored. Then, up ahead, in the far distance, my headlights caught something. A small shape on the shoulder of the road. It looked like a child, standing perfectly still, her head bowed, as if waiting. My foot slammed on the brake, the rig groaning and shuddering as the air brakes engaged. The truck screeched to a halt 20 feet from the figure. It was a little girl in a simple, old-fashioned dress, her face obscured by the deep shadows of the night. She slowly lifted her head, and even from that distance, I could see she had no eyes, just dark, hollow sockets. The radio, which had fallen silent, crackled one last time. Her voice didn't come from the speaker. It whispered directly from the darkness of the sleeper cab behind my right ear, a soft, final, triumphant breath. 1. I looked in my rearview mirror, expecting to see the empty road behind my rig. Instead, the reflection was of the inside of my cab. But it wasn't empty. It was her face filling the entire mirror. Pale skin, so translucent it seemed to glow from within, and wide, dark eyes that were pits of endless, starless night. She had a small, terrible smile of triumph. An intense, unnatural cold flooded the cab, freezing the condensation on the windows. Her ghostly hand reached for me from the reflection, and as her fingers brushed my shoulder, it wasn't a physical touch. It was a feeling of being hollowed out, of my own life, my own story, being overwritten by her static silence. The cab filled with the scent of ozone and dust, the smell of a ghost finally coming home to a quiet, empty vessel.